Hello and thank you for joining us on Newsweek, where we highlight some of the biggest stories that made the headlines recently. I am Marco Tabo. Nigeria bids farewell to Buhari as President Tinubu. World leaders gather in Daura for burial of former president. Former VP Atiku faces knocks after dumping PDP for the third time. And later on the show, 151 police officers faced a disciplinary panel over ethical violations. All the details in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. All eyes across Nigeria turned to Daura, Katsina State as former President Muhammadu Buhari was laid to rest. President Bola Tinubu stood solemnly at the tarmac to receive the flag-draped casket. The burial ceremony was marked by solemnity, tears, and full military honors, a fitting tribute to a leader who served Nigeria both as a military head of state and a democratically elected president. Buhari remains arrived at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport in Katsina around 2:07 p.m. aboard the Nigerian Air Force aircraft. He was accompanied by Vice President Kashim Shettima, Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila, and members of his family. Of course, joining me on this discussion right here, I have right here in the studio with me, Kayode Laden, the Executive Editor, TVC News. Good to have you this evening. A pleasure. Thank you so much for coming. And of course, I have on Zoom, standing by, I have Olayinka Daniels, a lawyer. Hopefully, we'll connect with him in a bit. And of course, Olayinka Daniels, good to have you this evening. Welcome to the show.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. All right. I do have Adams Abonu, is also a political analyst, joining us from our Abuja studio. Adams, it's really, really great to have you on the show this evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Well, Adams, let me begin with you very quickly. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu stood unshaken. What do you think his participation in Buhari's burial signified politically and symbolically, from your point of view?
Yeah, President Tinubu demonstrated, leadership in the entire processes that led to during the death and burial of former President Muhammadu Buhari. As his predecessor, he did spectacularly well. He represented the interest of the country he's leading. He gave a befitting burial. The former president was accorded a state burial. Everything was in place, and President Buhari also demonstrated that, the person who handed over power to him was a man of the people. The president called him, gave him flowing tributes, Megaskia, the people's general, and even had that posthumous Federal Executive Council meeting where Buhari's families and associates were hosted. So in all, President Bola Tinubu had a statesmanly handling of the burial of his predecessor, Thank you.
All right. Kayode, very quickly, you saw what happened at the burial, how the whole situation was quite a very, very, how to describe it now, very sorrowful, mixed feelings thereabout, and the whole conversations that trailed all of what happened that day. The role that the president played at that burial, in the future, what are we going to be looking at, remembering and looking back at that event?
In fact, I think the right word is will definitely elude us at this time. But I think what the president has done, it has served as a precedent on how a former head of state or former president should be honored. I think that's one significant thing that he has done. In history, it is obvious that no former president has been honored from the way the president has done it. And it sends a stronger message that when people serve for whatever reasons, especially people who have served for 2 years as a military head of state and also for 8 years as the civilian president, such a person deserves all the honor that you can give to him. And I don't think the president fell short of that with what he has done and was able to move Nigeria to that start. I listened to one of the Buhari's allies recently, today, that's talking about Tunde Bakari, where he had to even mention that this will serve as precedent of how statesmen, should be honored. And I think the president has done well. The media, of course, also did a good job. Kudos to TVC and every other person. The way you will definitely know that this is a former president of a country. In general. And good job in my view.
All right. Now, Olayinka Daniels, very quickly now, quite a number of reactions to the former general's death. Will Buhari be remembered more as a military general turned Democrat, or as a leader who disappointed in certain areas of expectations from your point of view as well? How do you align your thoughts with this very reality we are faced with right now? Olayinka Daniels, can you hear me? Okay, I think that was... Okay, Kadi, I'll throw that question to you. Now, how do you think the former general will be remembered more? Will he be remembered more as a military general turned Democrat, or as a leader who didn't meet certain expectations with the way Nigerians viewed him?
Obviously, it's a mixed feelings. It's a mixed feeling, and it will always be like that. There are some, for political reasons, will never come to terms with the achievements of President Buhari, and there are some who will definitely sing his praises, even to the high heavens beyond what he has done. So we shouldn't bother ourselves about that. And it's unfortunate that we are still divided. But if that division is based on achievements and non-achievement, it would have been nice. But it's usually based on ethnic and religious considerations. And that's so sad. But it will be on record that this was a man, who finished second Niger Bridge, whether you like it or not. It will be on record that there were a lot of infrastructural development during his time. Yeah. And so whatever it is, whether you don't like the messenger, but take note of what he has done, and history will be kind to you. However, maybe he failed in some areas, especially towards the end of his tenure, the brutality that Nigeria faced in the hands of the CBN governor, but the fact that he was the president, some would never forget. True. And some will also not forget some of those things that happened at the time, in 2020, talking about the NSAS and some other things. But in general, I think he has done well. He did his best to the best of his ability, and history should be kind to him.
Well, hopefully we get to re-establish connection with Olayinka Daniels. But Adams, very quickly, how do you think the North will be adjusting to the death of the former general politically right now?
Well, the North, President Buhari, while he was alive, was a champion of the North, and we have seen that there's been a vacuum. Across northern Nigeria, there tends to be a vacuum, what we term the Buhari's traditional votes. Who is it going to translate to? So after the burial of the former president, the North is expecting that a political figure of Buhari's stature, will step in to fit into his shoes. But the question is, wouldn't his shoes be too large for the likes of Nasir El-Rufai, the likes of Atiku Abubakar, or Musa Kwankwaso, or Sule Lamido, to step in to fill into this space? Because we have seen that Buhari commanded a robust followership across everywhere in the North, and northern Nigeria is, as at today, bereft of that kind of phenomenal leadership, So across the North, it's expected that a particular person will step in to fit into Buhari's humongous shoes.
All right. All right. Now, Olayinka Daniels, welcome back. Now, very quickly, how do you think Buhari's passing would affect the political dynamics within the APC and Nigeria at large?
Well, I can see a twist. And I think, without politicizing the barrier, I think there were some moves that were made during the barrier, and that may tone down the 360 twist that we may have politically. Because don't forget, this is a man that has his own 12 million votes. Now, this man is no longer there. Now, our people will still be faithful to the party considering the number of these votes. or faithful to the ally? Or will President Bola Ahmed Tinubu be able to work hard within this short time to make sure that the vote, the 12 million vote, does not leave APC to other political parties? Because don't forget now, there will be some restructuring politically, and we wait to see what happens in the next future, in the next one year thereabout. But I think the ally, the president, the late President Buhari ally will know better, and I think they will stick to the game. And I don't see any drastic change in the political game in the next future, politically for APC.
Okay. Kadiladende, I just want to hear your thoughts on the dynamics of what you think will be playing out right now within the APC and the political spectrum at large with the passing of the former general.
You see, just to quickly put it on record, when everybody talked about Buhari 12 million votes, they should remember in 2007, Buhari contested a fellow Northerner, talking about Yaradua. He didn't have 12 million votes. He had, think about 7 million or thereabout. I'm not too sure. That's to let you know that we must also understand that sometimes it depends on who is contesting against who. If a Northerner is contesting against a Southerner, there's that tendency where you have that humongous vote from a particular block. And don't also forget that the person who actually defeated Buhari also got his vote from the other block. Just to say that let's not over-deify the personality. So I see some kind of replacement in the future, in the near future. Maybe not Atiku, because Atiku is not known to associate with the talakawas, the people who are the lower end. But there are other figures like that whom these people trust.
And you do not think that he might want to adjust to changing that?
No, it's too late. It's too late at his age, to change to that person that everybody right there want to associate with. Maybe you mentioned the likes of Konso, you mentioned some other people, like you mentioned Sule Lamido and the rest. Some may want to command that kind of court-like followership, but they should just be themselves. It's not what somebody worked for. But it now depends on who is on the ballot and what is the person on the ballot saying to them.
All right, Olayinka Daniels, quickly now, how do you think Buhari's leadership shaped Nigeria's domestic and foreign policies before we go to our next topic?
Well, I must confess that don't forget that when he was coming in, there was a platform, there was a foundation, it came in to build, and there was a platform in which he was elected as a president as at that time. And when he came in, that actually did happen. There were some changes here and there. There were some policies, there were political movements that were made, though at some point, there were questions, from different angles to this whole thing. But as we can see, and from what is happening, from the continuity from what we've had in the past, we can see that we can't rule out that late President Buhari didn't do anything. It actually worked and changed a number of things, and he changed. In fact, he gave the for instance, the foreign policies that have been made has really improved and has elevated Nigeria from where it used to be to we can see what is happening today. We are still moving. We are still work in progress, though. But at least we can give it to him that he really shaped the Nigerian, both foreign and local dispensation of Nigerian political era in his time.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, we'll go on a quick break now, and Newsweek continues in a moment. Stay with us.